Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've officially made 2.5 years locked. That was on yesterday, October 19th, 2019 was 2.5 years locked. And that's crazy to me. Like, I don't even want to really go into like the details of my journey and all that because I feel like I'm giving enough content explaining like how I maintain my locks and at the same time showing what my locks look like. So today what I really want to do is just talk about my hair story, which is what led me up to being locked for 2.5 years. And I feel like as a black woman, a lot of us can relate to that. Like, a lot of us have gone through horror stories with our hair. A lot of us have been judged for our hair. Black people in general, really. You know, we had laws, all types of stuff like that wouldn't even let us wear afros, braids, and locks and all that. So it's really, I'm just going to dive deep right into it. I'm not going to ramble too much. So, like most little black girls, I had my first relaxer at the age of about like 7 or 8, something like that. I remember begging my mom for a relaxer, and she was more than ready to give me one. I really didn't even believe that like black people could have hair that was not chemically relaxed. Like, that's how brainwashed I was back then, but you know, I know a lot of my sisters out there can relate to me. Like, that's just what it was. Like, we really didn't even think our hair was even allowed to be natural. And so I got my first relaxer. It was silky straight. I maintained it. Like I said, this was when I was like 8. I maintained it throughout my early 20s, and I always had like long hair for a black girl because it was, you know, past my shoulders or whatever. That was always considered long hair for a black girl. But it never grew further than that. When I look back, I remember I would like comb in, there'd be hair everywhere, and I get it hair sheds, but it would be like little broken off pieces of hair that were not supposed to just be breaking off like that, and which is why I always stayed at the same length. Now when I look back, like, my hair wasn't, it was growing, but it was breaking off at the same rate that it was growing because I was relaxed, plus I was putting heat on my hair. And it's like, how does that even make sense that they sold us these relaxers to keep our hair straight, but then we still gotta like flat iron it and put heat on it? Like, that don't even make sense. But that's a whole nother subject within itself. But anyway, so I was wearing my hair in this relaxer all this time. And then when I was in like, it might have been like '09. Oh, yeah, it was probably like '09. Me and one of my homegirls decided that we should put a weave in our head. And so we put weaves in our heads. I gave her a full glue in. Whitney, shout out to you. You already know what we did that day at the shop. I gave her a full glue in, and she gave me a sew in with a glue in on the very top. And we thought we were the baddest bitches in the world. You know, we had this weave in, and that was like me going to the next level of damage. Little did I know, because I had no idea how to maintain my hair under that weave. Like I said, this was back before like the weave game became what it is today. So like, I had no knowledge of even how to take care of like my hair if it was to be in a long-term style. And yeah, I kept that weave in for some time and never, not once, touched a dab of oil, a dab of water onto my actual hair while that weave was in. So when I took it out, when I tell you, I had lost so much hair. That was like the first time I ever was like not comfortable with my natural hair. Even though it was relaxed, but you know, just my hair with that weave. That was the first time I ever realized, like, shit, I done broke all my hair off. So, yeah, I took that weave out. My hair was like maybe right here when it started down here, and it was just thin as fuck. Like, there was just nothing cute about it at all. So I knew I had to do something, but I was still a dum-dum at that stage in my life. So what I decided to do was, instead of like, you know, maybe possibly going natural and stop putting chemicals and wear protective styles like a normal person would do, I decided that I was just gonna wear glue-ins. Yes, y'all. Glue-ins in my hair. I don't know how long it was going to be. Forever, possibly. I don't know how long it was going to be. But I decided that I was going to wear glue-ins. So I started doing that. And I got to a point where I just remember washing my hair and never getting all the glue out. Like, I could just never get it out. My hair was still breaking and damaged. And I was still relaxing it on top of all of that. Like, I was just fucking my hair up, but had no idea like what to do. So then something dinged inside of me that I needed to stop gluing tracks in my head. I knew I didn't know how to like sew them into my own head on like a regular basis. So I started doing clip-ins, and that was cool. Like, I was like wearing clip-in tracks all the time, and I loved them because I was wearing like a texture that looked like regular like black girl relaxed hair. Like, it wasn't no like Brazilian silky straight or nothing. It just looked like regular black girl relaxed hair or black girl flat iron hair. So I was wearing those clip-in tracks. I was feeling them clip-in tracks, and I started to notice that I liked them even more when I needed a relaxer because they stayed in better. Like, if you got a little thick root with some kink in it, like, that clip-in holds in better than when you got like perfectly silky straight hair. So I started stretching out my relaxers because I was really liking the look of the clip-ins, and I liked the look of the volume that I had across the front. I've never been a fan of, like, in my adult years at least, of like hair flat to my head. I've always liked a little texture. I've never been the one to be like, I need to be like, you know, Brazilian silky waved out. Like, never been that type. So yeah, I just started wearing these clip-ins with this natural textured hair. And as my hair would grow out, I started actually seeing my curl pattern and seeing what my natural hair looked like, and actually fell in love with what my natural hair looked like. So I don't even know what it is that came over me, but something told me to stop relaxing. And I might have already been starting to look at YouTube videos, but like, I feel like if I hadn't already looked at a few YouTube videos shortly after that, I did start getting into YouTube and like looking up people. I was watching, you know, the OGs in the natural hair game, like the Chime Edwards, Mahogany Curls, fucking Natural 85, the Glam Twins, Natural Niecy. Like, I was watching all of them, and that was really what kept me inspired to like keep going natural with my hair and not do relaxers anymore. So I completely stopped doing relaxers, and then I eventually did a big chop where I cut my hair into like a stack bob, but at this time I was still wearing it flat iron, which is a no, 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 no. Like, if you're gonna go natural and stop straightening your hair, you can't keep flat ironing it. You're gonna get heat damage and all that type of stuff. But whatever. I was still flat ironing it. I cut it into a stack bob that was longer in the front, and was wearing like just a little couple clip-ins in the front just to like give it that whole, you know, long look, because I damn sure didn't have that much length in the front. But I sure was fronting to people like I did, like it was all my hair. You know, I just did my big chop and it was all my hair. I look back and that's so silly, but that's what I did. And so yeah, I did my big chop, and then from there I wore it like that for a while, but then I got to a point where I realized I didn't want to put heat on my hair no more, so I started wearing like a lot of high buns. And then I discovered, like, I would wear like a high bun with weave wrapped around it, of course. And then I started discovering Marley twists and crochet braids, all that type of stuff that like started booming when the natural hair movement popped off. This had to be like, maybe this was... Gosh, this was like 8 years ago, so we're in 2019, so this is like 2011, like, and the natural hair movement was just booming. Like, they were just, you know, natural hair YouTubers were popping up left and right, natural hair tutorials and styles were popping up left and right. So I just started, you know, doing Marley twists and crochet braids, and sometimes I would still do like a straightened out weave look, but it was so far and few between. And then I got to a point where I felt comfortable with my length, and so I just really started wearing my fro out, and I loved it. Like, my hair was big, it was voluminous, it was what I was wanting. I was finally starting to like see my hair look like the tutorials. But that's another thing. Like, your hair will never look like anybody else's. You know, like, on a, you've got to be consistent just with your own regimen and not depend on these YouTubers and everybody to tell you what your hair should look like because you use this product. Like, you just have to, your hair is not there, so you have to go with your own experiences. But I had finally gotten to a point where I had mastered my natural hair, but I had so many products, like so many products. And I remember, like, if it was my birthday or something, my husband, he would buy me like a blow dryer, a curl wand. It was always something for my hair, and my hair was an investment. It was a monthly expense, and if my hair didn't look right, I didn't feel right. Like, it just became too much. And I'd been already going through a spiritual journey where I was all about, like, living as free as possible, which is why I pretty much got it tatted on my knuckles, like, live free, because I already knew that, like, I didn't want to ever, like, feel constrained or whatever. Like, I didn't want to ever feel like I had to change who I was to get a job or to, you know, feel like myself. And so for me, I just knew that, like, I was kind of over a lot of stuff. So that was when I started looking at lock videos online, and I fell in love. I absolutely fell in love. And I had told myself, like, I would lock at certain points in my life. Like, I told myself I would lock my hair on my 30th birthday, and I waited, like, I think it was 6 months later. And what happened was, it was literally just an epiphany. Like, I was tired. I was so tired of everything that it took. Because with my natural hair, like, I couldn't just fall asleep. I had to either twist that shit back up, put some curls, rods in that shit, and put my scarf on. Like, there was no just going to sleep. There was none of that. And I think that's also, like, a big flaw in the natural hair community, is, like, we don't accept our hair in its natural, shrunken up state. We're always doing something to stretch it out, smooth it out, make it look better, and that is not what natural hair is. Like, that's not. So the natural hair movement pretty much, like, had gotten hijacked by corporations, white-owned corporations that were, like, and I wasn't feeling it. So I know I probably kind of shifted a little bit, but I don't edit my videos. Like, I don't know how to edit them, so I just go with the flow. So this is what it is. But anyway, so I just wasn't feeling the vibe of it, and I went to work one day, and I came home, jumped in the shower, came out, and just started my locks. Like, just started my locks. And it's the best decision that I've ever feel like I made in my life. Like, I probably need to do a part 2 of this video because it's getting really, really long. And then, you know, just the way I showed y'all, like, everything that I went through emotionally and all that in the beginning. My lock journey was kind of the same, like, leading up to those 2.5 years to where I am today, like, looking at other people's lock journeys and getting side-eyed. I still get side-eyed and all that type of stuff, but I don't care. Like, I absolutely love my hair. I absolutely love my hair. And I would do it all over again. If I could do it all over again, really, to be honest with y'all, like, I would have just not been so insecure with my locks in the beginning stages. So yeah, this is a long video. I didn't intend for it to be this long, and like I said, I haven't edited nothing out, but I just wanted to be real with y'all for a second on camera. So this is my 2.5 year lock update, and let me show y'all what I'm looking like.